Closing out the week on the Real Kyper and Bourne Show. We are live on Sportsnet 590 The Fan, Sportsnet 360, and Sportsnet Plus. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee, Derek Brandeo, and Jake the Snake Schultz with you for the next 2 hours. Leaf Hour number 1. Where the Toronto Maple Leafs down the New Jersey Devils 4-2 to even their record at 1-1. In about 30 minutes, we'll welcome in former National Hockey Leaguer, 2-time Stanley Cup champion, Craig Simpson. Always a great guest because no one follows the Leafs more than this guy.
Nope.
Chris Cuthbert calling all the games. We'll get his thoughts on what he's seen in the first 2 games and what we might anticipate as Sidney Crosby and the Pittsburgh Penguins visit the Toronto Maple Leafs Saturday night at Scotiabank Arena. And just to double up the treat on a Friday, Colby Armstrong at the top of the hour will be in studio for us.
Both Toronto and Pittsburgh insight out of Colby, as always.
Yeah, so lots of fun ahead of us. In the meantime, the Toronto Maple Leafs, led by Steve Lawrence or Lorenz.
Now it's whatever you want. You can't be
Flip
wrong.
a coin.
You cannot be wrong. Say whatever you want. Lorenz is how I'm going, though.
Little from column A, little from column B.
I don't think Leaf fans really care either way
as long as he
because
keeps doing
at least
this.
they know what they think that they're getting now out of this guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he's turning it into a media darling. He's turning into a fan favorite. Every time you see him on camera, his face lights up the whole set. Like you can't wipe the grin off his face.
He's got a cup in his back pocket, and he's with his childhood dream team. He's having a blast.
Bobby McMahon, Max Pacioretty, also involved in the scoring. Rounded out with a John Tavares goal, but we'll exclude him because he makes too much money.
Yeah, it's so true. Eh?
He doesn't fit in with them.
It's like, yeah, but anyway, let's talk about the other
He
guys.
ruined it.
Yeah.
Because the scoring's coming out of a combined salary of what, $2.4 million
Yeah.
out of these guys.
Yeah. So I guess we can start kind of overview. What'd you think watching game 2 against the New Jersey Devils?
There's probably parts of Wednesday night's game I liked a little better than what I saw out of Jersey. I think first and foremost, like the big storylines is the goaltending in the first 2 games.
Yeah.
That's, I think, the number one storyline.
I think that's fair.
And then the second one would be the depth guys.
Bottom 6.
The guys that were coming into round, or smooth the edges off of the core.
Yeah.
Have done a fantastic job. And now people are saying, okay, when can we get that core going now?
I'll add to that and say that this decor is really good. Like, there's a chance that this Leafs decor is legitimate, better than maybe we've seen in the past. We've been doing the shows for 4 years now. Perhaps the best decor we've seen.
Better. No question better.
Yeah.
But to your point, like, will it be good enough? I think it's just way too early to tell.
But, first 2 games, they've given up 1 even strength goal.
Yes.
Last year, they were a disaster, but not great. And I'll say I really like 2 pairs. I really like Riley and Tanev. They work perfectly together, just like kind of we thought they would work. And I really like McCabe and Ekman-Larsson together. I think McCabe, they both skate. They break the puck out. McCabe's obviously physical. I thought they've worked really well.
Sammy, your thoughts on the first 2 games?
Yeah, I really enjoyed a lot of last night. Just, I didn't think I was going to be, and this comes from a fan's perspective, clearly. I didn't exactly think that I was going to feel the way I did about Keefe going into the game. But for me as a fan, I really wanted that win.
It's like surprised your ex-girlfriend feeling.
I really wanted the Leafs to beat Sheldon Keefe and the Devils. And, you're going into that game, second half of a back-to-back where they have a tough loss to the Habs. You've got your, fourth-string goalie? Third-string goalie? On the second game of the season, your starter's hurt. And, in the second half of a back-to-back, you really kind of have, if you're the team that's going to jump on them. And I thought they played really hard in that first period, got a 3-goal lead, and they kind of buoyed them throughout the game.
Mm-hmm.
But I got to tell you, it was sweet to beat Keefe. And it was sweet to cut his stuff after the game where it's just like, I don't miss this.
No.
So
I know that's rude, but I don't miss it.
Yeah.
it is a Leaf hour. We should go to Craig Berube first on a Kipper's Clipper, but maybe we should start with Sheldon, just to once again thank him for all those years of giving us so much content.
Oh yeah,
We'll give him the respect of giving us the
respect of the handshake line, if you will.
Our first clip.
How ironic.
Yeah.
Head coach of the New Jersey Devils. We'll listen to Sheldon Keefe's overview of the game.
Can't spot any team in the league lead like that. I mean, I don't know that we deserved or that they deserved to be up 3 like the way that they were, but the reality is that they were. So it's a hard hole to get out of for sure. But in some cases, dug our own hole there. It's just puck play not nearly good enough, and defending not even close to hard enough today. So paid for it. Puck just kept going in the net.
That was an added.
Oh, that's Keefe. That's such a great Keefe clip. You could feel that was a goalie criticism.
Felt like a Leaf loss last year.
Right.
Or the last few years.
Not
hard enough. Not this, not
hard
that.
enough, didn't get a save.
Like that's.
I bet
They weren't very good.
I have heard that clip.
Yes.
100 times in the 4 years we've been doing this show.
Yeah. Variations of
I got to
same
tell
thing.
you, if I'm Sheldon Keefe, and that's our home opener against the team that just stuffed me.
Just thought we played
I'm
soft.
Pissed.
Agree.
I'm pissed.
Yeah.
Boys, that is not the look or the effort or the attention to detail that could help me look good here.
Mm-hmm.
I think the New Jersey Devils let them down last night. The players let their new head coach down against their former club.
Yeah. I wonder statistically, like if coming back from Europe has something to do with that.
No, you know what? Yes, it did.
Yeah.
And shame on us because we didn't acknowledge going into that game last night that there is that thought that you're overseas, you're coming back, time change. Like you played. No, it's out there, Sammy. It's been out there for 25, 30 years.
They got home on Monday night.
No,
but there is some stats that teams have
is.
come home and like pooped in the bed a little bit.
It's real.
Okay.
No, it's real.
Okay.
It's real.
Oh, yeah, these professional athletes got a bunch of great sleep and had to play a game on a Thursday night. What a factor.
No.
Come on.
Listen,
They played like crap.
they did play like crap, but it has been probably for 30 years now a built-in excuse for teams that go overseas and spend time
Which
and
is
then
why
come
they
back.
don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Stupid. First of all,
What happened to the Leafs when they came back last year? I can't remember. Did they go poo-poo after that? I can't remember. When the Leafs came back?
Well,
Can't
they
remember.
were in November though.
Yeah.
Sweden. You're talking about.
Were they bad once they came back?
Well,
I can't remember.
Willie signed.
Blends together. Oh yeah, Willie was a
Willie signed,
star.
and then he.
Yeah, I guess I could look that up. I have a computer in front of me.
But-
Anyways, continue.
You give him the benefit of the doubt, but a little bit for sure on that.
But I mean, looking at the Leafs' fourth line last night, Lorentz, Kampf, and McMahon, that was a delightful line to watch, was it not? Like big guys, fast on the forecheck, straight lines, get the pucks to the net. I think chances were 5-1 when they were out there. They outscored them. McMahon shoots one in. That's a really refreshing look down the Leafs lineup. So, yeah, they didn't get any offense out of their top guys, but this is when you have depth. You don't have to be the ones every single night. And I know they're 1-1 and they lost the Montreal Canadiens. I'm very encouraged by the early results from this team.
Okay, let's go to Craig Berube on his bottom six.
Oh, definitely. I mean, they were. I thought they were really good tonight. They just hounded on the forecheck and playing hard down low, and got rewarded with some, greasy goals around the net, which, we gotta keep improving on that, and we're getting there.
Yeah, that's he's happy. He's happy with the bottom six. We saw the state-sponsored media clip, as you call it, Sam, the blueprint.
State-controlled media.
State-controlled media, where he said he loves Beast, like Berube liked last night, which is good. Things going in the right direction.
And just to go back, the Leafs lost 2 games coming out of the Sweden trip. They lost that 3-2 weird afternoon game to the Blackhawks, and then they lost to the Penguins, I believe. Yeah. So there you go.
They lost in 2 non-playoff teams.
So how old's Steve Lorenz?
28.
28. So he's been around a little bit, and I get the salary cap crunch and how you just have to pick players, but it's still baffling that this guy could not sign a contract this summer. That the best that he could do is a PTO. And
I don't know that's true.
Less. Well, I'm talking about 31 other teams, JB.
But I'm not. That's what I'm saying. I don't think it's true that he had no contract opportunities at other places.
Zippo, buddy. Zippo. Nobody takes a PTO because he wore a pair of pajamas when he was a kid over a guaranteed contract in the summer.
He made some comments to the effect of this wasn't the best contract or opportunity that was out there for him, but he wanted to play for the Leafs. I think, Kip, in some cases, these guys' PTOs are contracts. They're like, you're going to sign.
Listen, if you probably would have watched him closely, and I don't know if anybody did, like signing him to a $1.2 million contract for 2 years would have been a huge stretch for him. By any other team. Like, again, you don't take a PTO, come to training camp, maybe get hurt, and not sign anything over something out there that's guaranteed or that provides you more security.
Maybe he had one-way offers for the same dollar amount that a PTO was going to get him. You don't think so?
Nobody came.
Okay.
And even through training camp, do you understand too? Like he went through training camp and then signed a day or two before. Up until that point, any team could turn around and say, "Hey, I've been watching your training camp with the Toronto Maple Leafs. You look good. Here's a 2-year, $2 million contract."
Right. Like, so what is your point?
My point is that there's a lot of stupid teams out there. That's my point.
I thought maybe your point was that he's going to play worse.
No, I'm a huge fan.
Okay.
And I said a week ago that guy's in the starting lineup. Mm-hmm. My point is like
how do you not?
What are you doing, guys?
Of
what are you doing?
All the guys that get contracts for dollar amounts, like this guy kills penalties,
I just think there's dumb
checks.
teams out there.
Yeah, okay.
That wouldn't look at him and say he's a serviceable player, and I'm willing to give him $1.2 million times 2.
Right. And I think for the Toronto Maple Leafs, if you're a fan, you're going, thank goodness there's some dumb teams out there.
Yes.
Teams fall in love with their own guys, right? Like just someone who's been around that they know, and they're like, he's good in the room.
What did he play last night? 15, 16 minutes?
Yeah, I don't know exactly, but
penalty kill, goal and an assist.
And you're right. He played 15:07.
And a huge smile on his face. Now, the Leafs, after what they've witnessed in training camp, are not surprised at all. No. That when they played him last night, that's what they expected. My point is like,
that is strange.
How does a guy like that go to a PTO and then play 15 minutes and get a goal and assist in his second game?
Goal, assist, multiple hits, a takeaway, took 2 hits, blocked 2 shots.
And
big fan.
I mean, that backhand, it was like, am I 14 watching Matt Sundin here again? Like, what the hell was that? Where'd that come from?
He even said he got all that one. What a performance.
So, unlike the first game where Stolars and Montembeault go toe-to-toe, this one appeared to me over early between the Hildeby and Markstrom.
Do you think that helped?
Who stunk last night.
Yeah. Do you think that helped Hildeby? Like they got out to a lead and he could maybe settle in a little bit more?
Do pitchers like a 2-0 or 3-0 lead going into the 3rd, 4th, and 5th inning?
Feels better.
So when I saw that Bobby McMahon goal, I'm like,
but for McMahon,
Sheldon thought he had Freddie Anderson in the playoffs, maybe. Hey,
Gave him some Ilya Samsonov flashbacks on that one.
Yeah.
Let's get Sheldon Keefe's thoughts on his goaltender, Markstrom, last night.
Yeah, not a great first period for him, but yeah, I would agree he settled. I mean, I didn't think we gave out very much. After he had the one sequence, I think he made a great save for us, and that kind of kept us in the game. But there was nobody here on the game tonight.
I don't want to do this anymore.
Hey, what do you think the right way to handle a veteran pro like Markstrom is, like for Keefe? Like, is it better to lean on him, or is it better to just be like, he's fine, he's good, he was fine, we all have off nights?
Okay, but like...
Because that's kind of
When-
leany-on-y.
Yeah, kind of.
It's,
Game 3 of the season.
right. After a couple of wins.
Yeah. Yeah.
Seemed like a bit much.
Whatever.
That's what we used to do with the Clips, though.
I know. I got to tell you, the sound of his voice, I've listened to it so much, and I've actually really liked what I've heard from Berube through the first of training camp and the first couple of games, and his way that he does it with the media. Like, it's clearly not as good for us, but it's better.
Yeah.
The way he handles it and the way he talks less and all of that. But
We did have him on,
just move on.
Lorenz, if we wanted to tie a ribbon on the Lorenz conversation.
Okay, let's hear it.
Clip 5, please, from Greg Berube.
I mean, he's a second and third effort guy, but he's smart, knows how to play the game the right way defensively. Has a real good stick, and he's big and long, gets in the way. That's really what his game is.
there you go.
I think the worst part about the Berube clips is that he exposes how not rocket science the sport is.
Yeah, 100%.
Like,
It's the plan.
Keefe and Dubas and guys like myself just twisting ourselves into pretzels to explain
Hey.
the game, and it's like big.
Long, gets in the way.
Gets in the way.
Second effort guy.
It's not that hard.
It's really not. It's really, really not. So can I read you guys a stat from Luke Fox Jukebox on Twitter?
Yes.
It's the first time ever that Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, and William Nylander have all been kept off the score sheet in the season's first 2 games.
Yeah, 3 great players, 2 straight games. Unlikely. Last year Matthews led the NHL in posts and crossbars. Hit another. He's 3 in the opening 2 games.
Yeah, whether it's the first 2 games or middle of February or March, Leaf fans don't like that.
No.
They don't like it.
Do you think they've all looked really good through
I
2
didn't mind
games?
them in Montreal. I
thought they were good in
I think
Montreal.
last night, another post for Matthews, I think.
Yeah.
And outside of that, the sore spot is the power play, guys. Okay? It's just...
The spot is very sore.
And it
is
re-
a
acupuncture.
Gushing wound.
Yeah.
It was butt ugly last night. And the last one was horrific
Yeah.
in the third period.
Good news for Mark Savard is you got time. And you'd rather start crappy and build towards it than come out of the gates hot.
Yeah, you never want to start crappy, my friend.
Well,
Ever.
but you can picture the conversation when they're, lighting it up in the playoffs and the power play. Remember the first
It's-
4 games of
Oh,
the
it took
season
some
when they
time
couldn't
to
make the
find it,
pass
yeah.
It's
and
just too slow.
slow. It's exactly
It's
right.
just slow.
No
And then
urgency.
they do have a sense to get Austin the puck
For sure.
a lot.
For sure.
And they got to just stop it. And we got Craig Simpson, who, pretty good power play guy in his day with the Edmonton Oilers. We'll get his thoughts on it in about 12 minutes. But, I'll go back to Sammy. Sammy made a good point.
Me?
When?
Yeah, the
On
other day.
purpose?
Me?
Do you remember it?
No. God, no.
Could they dump the puck in one
No.
time? Okay, then
No,
I don't know.
no. Split them up.
Oh, yeah. I like that you're giving me credit for that point.
I do. Yeah.
Everyone in this market's been screaming about that for 2 years. I really appreciate the credit. But yeah, split them up. Please, split them up.
Like if you're gonna stick with this philosophy that we're running 2 power plays, which has been pretty consistent by Berube in the first 2 games, then split them up. Have 2 equals, not a 1A and a 1B, but 2 equals. Boys, fight over it.
Now that's what you
because-
want to do
because
in
it can't
playoffs
be-
too?
No. This is just now. This is the here and now.
Yeah.
Who knows what the look or the team or the chemistry will be like in April. I'm not worried about April. I'm worried about going 0-4 against the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Last night, the top guys played just over 4 minutes on the power play. The power play 1 unit, like 4:10, 4:20. And the second unit played 3:30 of power play time. Doesn't quite math out, but ballpark. And then the game before, they were even closer. So they're using the second unit, who also looks gross.
Yeah.
So,
Do you want to hear Berube talk about it?
of course.
He's got a clip on the power play. Clip 4, please, Derek.
Just our entries aren't very good, for one. We're just, both teams we played, the line's pretty stacked, right? And we're not putting pucks in and just going and work and getting them back. So that's one area. And the other area for me is it's just we're not attacking and shooting enough. Like, we're kind of passing it around, we're looking to pass it in the net rather than, just attacking and shooting, getting pucks there, recoveries and things like that. So, and, there were some plays that are there. We're just not seeing them right now. We're not quick enough making them. We had a backdoor play to Riley. It's just, if it's quicker, it's a goal, right? There's plays there, but they're not seeing it clean right now. We got to, look at some video with them and then work on it.
If Riley's quicker, that's what he said.
No. If they see Riley quicker, you can make that.
I know the exact play he's talking about, too. Tavares was slow on it.
Yeah.
Missed him. And it goes out.
So you played power play in junior, presumably.
Once upon a time.
I mean,
Right.
he had 61 tucks in the L, but he played on the power
Played
play.
some power play.
62.
Oh.
I give you credit, and then you screw that up.
I'm sorry.
I didn't play in the NHL, but the problem was not that I wasn't offensively talented enough. It's for other reasons. And so I was on the power play my whole life. And the most frustrating thing when you're a power play guy is to hear your coach just be like, we just got to bang into the net and bang rebounds in. Just not enough pucks to the net. Just like, these guys are the world-class, elite, skilled guys. Some of the best athletes on earth on the Leafs power play. Surely there's more to it than they're going to be a team that bangs it to the net and bangs for rebounds. Right?
I mean, it's not the worst idea.
No, but it's we don't have skill in this team. We're going to bang it to the net and bang for rebounds. We're going to crash the net.
Yeah. I think there's just, yeah.
Stacking the line, I agree. Chip it by,
Listen,
go get it.
They have over the years developed some habits, and I think one of them is to kind of rely on Austin a little bit more.
I agree
on the
that
power
cripples
play.
them, and I think that used to kill Pittsburgh looking for Malkin hitting one-timers. Like, there's other options.
And Mitch Marner's guilty as anybody to just sometimes force
Pucks. Yeah.
And that's Mark Savard's job now is to break it down and rebuild it.
Tavares is a great finisher in tight. They can make little passes into him.
Yeah, as last night he showed again with his goal. The guy can play in tight.
Yeah.
And he can.
That was a great goal.
Really good goal.
It was.
Yeah.
I think you tweeted it was
Oshawa
Generals days.
Yeah.
But I'd also like to see Ekman Larsson, and I know we're going to get there. I don't blame Riley entirely, but I'd like to see Ekman Larsson do it. He's had 50-point seasons. He's a 10, 15 goal seasons here and there. 120 goal season.
Could develop into that.
So
for sure.
If they're going to split it up, boys, what do the two look like?
Well,
Matthews.
Like, who goes down on the second unit?
Probably Willie and JT.
Willie and JT on one power play, and Austin and Mitch on the other power play.
And then fill in the blanks.
Well, and what's nice about that, too, is it makes your bench management way easier.
Right? Yep.
Because, you're just rolling out it's your pairs anyway for your lines.
Yep.
You got enough guys. Pacioretty can do it. Obviously, Robertson can shoot it in the net a bit. They've got options to fill in now, which is good. Pacioretty's been all right, boys.
Yeah, you mentioned Robertson, too. Have you ever seen a guy more inspired to show his former coach that he was a good hockey player?
He hustles. He was
last night he was
instrumental
shot out of a cannon in the first period.
Yeah.
Shot out of a cannon.
Still gets bounced around a little bit.
Yeah.
And ultimately, I don't know what the team's going to look like by April or May. If they can insulate him, there's a chance he could still be here at the end of the year. But if by chance they think that they need to be bigger in certain areas, there's a chance he might not be here.
My problem with Robertson is he's not a guy who plays with his teammates. You know, like he seems like he gets the puck and he's way ahead of the play and he's on his own and he takes a shot. Or, you know, he gets the puck in the corner and he wants to take it to the net. There's not a lot of small area passes, slowing it down, coming up together. I don't know. He's still got some work to do to become a more complete offensive player.
His first 2 games for ice time, he's 12-27 game 1. He's 10-16 last night. They were on the penalty kill a lot last night, so that's probably those 2 minutes. That's probably where they went, right? But, I mean, this is pretty similar output to what he was when Sheldon Keefe was the coach.
Yeah, he's going to – it's tough for him, but he has to score a bit. And it's not like he needs to score every 2 games. That's a 40-goal season. But, you know, if you don't score in 3 games, now there goes your 30-goal season. And we need him in the 20s at least.
It's going to be interesting to watch Pacioretty here if he can camp first couple of games. You're jacked, you're juiced, you're finishing checks, you're going. But a guy like this over the course of his career, this is brand new to him, man.
Yeah.
I mean, the chances of him able to put a smile on his face, come in, play 9 minutes a night, find a way to still put the puck in the net.
Well, he played 13. I mean, a lot of it had to do with he's not a penalty killer. They had shorthanded 6 times last night. Like, that was a big
bad,
Which, by the way,
penalties.
I also thought the officiating was pretty poor. I didn't agree with the one interference one.
Oh my God, on Connor Timmins.
Yeah.
I didn't mind it.
What?
I'm telling you.
Well, I mean, if you're going to call
Interference.
that, call the flying elbow in the neutral zone on Dylan on.
But there's one.
On Denies.
There's one thing to be said on that interference. He didn't have a stick. Okay. There's a different look on interference when you don't have a stick.
You can't claim you had other intent.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's, I think, was missed on the telecast last night. Mike Johnson, of course, does a terrific job, a good friend of mine. But Connor Timmins running interference or a pick without a stick is truly interference.
Yeah, because you're not going there for the purposes of making a play.
Exactly.
Okay, that's fine. I'll give you that.
Then call the flying elbows on Dylan.
I mean,
there's like 4 in that game.
Sure.
The ref's looking right at it.
For sure.
Ref talk.
Should we?
Poison.
We got to mention Willie Nylander's penalty late in the game.
Okay.
And that's another one where, like, if an official does not call a guy slap-shotting the puck like that as an unsportsman.
Right?
What's that?
He didn't call the.
He didn't. That's what I'm saying. If he doesn't call that,
what's unsportsmanlike?
then we're going to have, after every penalty, some guys rocket pucks anywhere they want all over the ice. That's a bad look. That was an unsportsmanlike that should have been called, in my opinion.
Yeah.
To me,
good point.
That should have been 2 for holding, 2 for embellishment. Like that's the perfect spot for where it was an infraction. But like Jack Hughes, you're a world-class skater, buddy. You went down like you got hammered from behind. He put his hand on your hip for 1 second. You went down like a bag of feathers. Like, it was brutal. He was flopping all over the ice the whole night.
What do you think of Willie the first 2 games?
No good.
I thought he's been very perimeter. He's had the puck a lot, but it's all circling the zone.
He, to me, is just caught between old Sheldon and new Craig Berube. Like, he is just like, he doesn't know whether he should poop or wind his watch.
Yeah. I don't know. If I had an $8 million contract, I'm not too stressed.
No, I don't think it's stress, but I think he's just caught.
Yeah.
He's just right in the, I can't blow the zone. I like to blow the zone, but
either let him blow the zone or make him a center.
And actually, he's been pretty good at it over the last few years. Like, at the end of the day, if you're going to have one guy cheat, it would be him.
There's almost nobody better at it.
And then just live with it. He won't do it. Like, he won't do anything remotely like he did with Sheldon, because Berube's watching.
They're going to neuter his unique cheating ability.
He's got to find that area where I can please him and still be myself.
I think that's part of the early season feeling out process.
Yeah.
What do you...
Might take a while.
Yeah.
That line is
the one who may have to adjust may be Berube.
That line, not for me, really.
That line is not a playoff line.
Well, no, it's like Willie and Tavares have been playing together now for, 5 years?
Yeah.
Do they have they ever had any chemistry? It's like, it's crazy. It's just because
they're fine.
It's default because you have Matthews and Marner. It's just the next 2 best guys play together, but it just They really don't seem like they hook
Wasn't
up
there
on
like
a ton.
year where it was
Who are we
Matthews
talking
and
about?
Willie?
Tavares and
Yeah.
Nylander.
Yeah, but Tavares likes to shoot the puck.
I know.
So is
And-
Willie.
Yeah.
I
So
know.
where's the chemistry? Where's the...
But they've played
right?
together for 5 years. You don't think you'd find a little?
No.
No.
Okay. All right.
No. And listen, again, John's good in tight, and he likes to shoot the puck. But there's 175 more feet of ice that he struggles with.
Yeah, I mean, he's been fine for 2 games, but I know exactly.
There's parts of his game where he turns the puck over and he's a little slow, and it's
I think
tough.
it
It might be tough for Willie.
Yeah. I think it was Andrew Brewer who made the point about Tavares that when he's a guy who scores net front and he's the centerman, he has to use the whole rink. A winger like Willie, he's back to the top of the circles and he shoots from farther away. He's using less rink. Like Tavares may have to play wing at some point to maintain his effectiveness as a scorer for the Leafs. But we've had that conversation. It's a totally different kettle of fish.
Let's go. Oh,
Before we
should
go, I would like to hear Hildeby. Can we just get a quick one in?
Okay. Hildeby number 1 is hilarious.
Okay.
Quickly, so let's do that.
It was good. It was a lot of noise. I was just trying to get in my seat, honestly.
After the game?
But no, it's a good feeling. Better than quiet.
What was the last one I missed?
Better than quiet.
Better than quiet.
Because apparently everybody was just going nuts.
Listen,
for him.
I caught his interview after the game. Like, how do you not like this guy?
Oh, yeah.
Like, he just seems so, like, sweet.
He's got the
He's
right
a
temperament
sweet
for a
guy.
goalie.
Joseph Wall's a sweet guy.
The Leafs might have too many sweet guys.
They're starting
Lorentz
to be
is sweet as hell.
They're really like likable guys.
Yeah.
And you are cheering for them.
Maybe that'll offset a core that everyone finds unlikable.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, we'll take a quick break. We return. We got Craig Simpson joining us, 2-time Stanley Cup champion. We'll get into the Leafs more. Their power play. How does it get going? That and more when we return to Real Kyper and Bourne. Welcome back to the program. Take 2. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee. Craig Simpson there? Nope, not yet. All right. Want to get his thoughts on Berube and the adjustments that players make. Let's welcome in Craig Simpson, 2-time Stanley Cup champion, in-game analyst for Sportsnet Hockey Night in Canada. Always a pleasure to have him on our show again this season. Simmer, thanks for doing this. We know you're a busy guy, but we always get great insight from you, particularly because you are the guy covering the Toronto Maple Leafs. And I wanted to talk to you about Craig Berube, and from a player's perspective, when a coach comes in, we've all had multiple different coaches based on either getting traded or signing with a new team. But when you're with the same team and you get a new coach, what has that been like for the majority of these players now, going from Sheldon Keefe to Craig Berube?
Yeah, as you guys both know, it's a big difference. And I think some people maybe say, well, I mean, you're a pro player going into your 9th year. Morgan Riley, his 12th year. You know how to play, you know how the systems are, and it's kind of just preparing yourself for your game. But when you get a dramatic change like that, and bringing in a guy that has a bit of a different voice and a little bit of a different attitude, and I think the players all know coming in and expecting, Berube likes a certain style, so we got to change our style. There's a lot of things to process, and all the while trying to get your game back to the level so that you have the confidence. As you guys know, if you as an individual don't have your confidence at the high level, forget about impressing the coach. You now all of a sudden early, especially when there's zeros across the board on your stat line, you start thinking about yourself and maybe doubting yourself. So I do think there's an adjustment. I'm not surprised that, guys are going to have to understand what's expected out of them. That might be a little bit different than the way that they've been, coming into each season the last 3 years under Sheldon, kind of knowing exactly where they stand, how the coach feels about them. Now it's like having a new teacher, right? You got to prove to the teacher that you're on top of your game and you understand what you have to do. And now it's a process of going out there and trying to execute it quickly.
Simmer, great to have you on again. Thank you very much. I did want to get your thoughts then. Do you think it's a coincidence that Nylander, Marner, and Matthews all have 0 points through 2 games, first game with the new coach? Like, it's not like they didn't play well or whatever, but it's very unusual to see that out of those guys.
Well, almost shocking, isn't it?
Right.
I mean, there's again where you look at the core guys that, think of even last year. Austin had a 40-goal season, a bump down from his 60 the year before. You know that he's going to be motivated. He's going to come out firing well. What does he do? He gets a hat trick in his first 2 games. So you think of just how Austin Matthews would have felt after game 2 last year, and now new coach, new pressures, new captaincy, and all of a sudden you're going, oh my gosh, like I'm never sitting here with goose eggs across. So the guy's human. There's no question it has to challenge you a little bit and get you taken back. So I do think it's a surprise. I'm not sure, Justin, if it's a coincidence with Berube being there, but you have to figure that it factors in a little bit. So, the one good thing, I'm so happy from going into Sidney Crosby coming in here tomorrow on a Saturday night, first Saturday night of the year, that they were able to bounce back against New Jersey. You know what it would be like now. Your show would be a little different, guys, if they were 0-2. And so I think the bounce back was great. And, maybe if you're looking at what has failed this team in the big games and playoffs with the elimination games, it's their lack of depth and lack of any kind of production out of anybody other than those 4 guys. So if nothing else, the game against, their old coach and the New Jersey Devils maybe is a good sign that you can win a game like that quite frankly was a pretty important game. Getting shut out for the first time in 3 years in Montreal. I thought they played well in Montreal and could have won the game easily, but could have doesn't get you a win. So I think maybe that's the first sign of saying, if you can get that production from the bottom 6 and a push there and a game that you win on the road, that early on is a really important one, maybe that's progress. And I think that's what they have to look at is if this team is going to be better, it's going to have to be better in those roles. And I think it showed a little bit there in game number 2.
You're listening to Craig Simpson, 2-time Stanley Cup champion, color analyst for Sportsnet. So, Simmer, that explains a new system, less east-west, maybe more north-south. And then there's the power play, where these guys have been together, all of them, for close to a decade here. They should know each other on a power play with their eyes closed. Yet they looked in the first 2 games like complete strangers. How do you explain that?
Yeah, I think it's the old saying, there are times when it's paralysis by analysis. You overanalyze your game a little bit and you start trying to shape it a certain way. You've got a new voice that, for Marc Savard, he understands it. This is a power play that 3 years ago was best in the National Hockey League, 2 years ago, second, last year, seventh. So there didn't need a whole lot of tinkering going on. This is a unit and a group that knows how to play with each other, for each other, how to play off of each other. So I do think if I were in that role, it's that balance of not trying to overwhelm with all kinds of new ideas right off the bat. I think you got to get to know how the guys react, how they interact, and shape your changes and tweaks around it. And, last year to start, they were 4 for 7 to start off the season. They had power play goals in 10 of the first 14. So, yeah, it's a little bit of a shocker. As you guys know, early in the season, everything is magnified so much in the early going when you're either 0-4 or you get on a hot start. So I just think your analysis is just not really free-flowing. When a power play is clicking, the guys are reading and playing off each other. The entries are clean. The passes aren't telegraphed. There's nothing static. And I think there's been, the Montreal game, you had the 4 chances. And early on, it was the entry, a sloppy entry. Now you're going back for it. And guys like nothing more than getting the quick entry, and now you start to read off each other in the offensive zone, and that just hasn't quite come together yet. And, I do think that if anything else, what I always loved about in the coaching of a power play is give the guys the information of what to expect from the penalty kill. Like, you analyze the penalty kill to present to the guys, this is where their pressure is. On the entry, they like the pressure here, so you know what to expect. I want them to have the freedom to play off each other and interact. And, I thought in preseason, they were pretty effective. And I thought they had a lot of good free-flowing, not only puck movement, but moving bodies too. And it's really hard when you get a threat. You mentioned before Tavares really good in tight. So all of a sudden Tavares is in tight, Matthews is on the right flank. Well, 2 passes later, Matthews is in the middle. And then all of a sudden Matthews is on the left side. That kind of movement creates havoc for the penalty killers. And I just think, it's only 2 games in, so no time to panic. But I just think they haven't had that free flow mentality. And if I'm Mark Savard, that's the first thing I'm addressing is, guys, go play, go play. And Justin, I think you're talking about putting pucks to the net, just throwing pucks in there. When they have had success in the past, though, they make 3 quick puck movements, and they've outmanned the penalty killers in front. At times, you've got Tavares, Marner, and on the side, even Matthews at times. You got a 3-on-1 down on that rebound, and bang, it's in the back of the net. Right. So sometimes that simplicity is outman the penalty killers, take the advantage of having that extra guy and get that puck to that difficult area. And I think that sometimes when you're not making those free flow plays, having that mentality and putting yourself with those chances in there is where you can all of a sudden get one. And then now the burden is off your back.
Right. It makes such a big difference to sort of relieve that pressure. So these are like the higher level things that make the difference between being a good team and bad. We talked about the core and the systems and the power play. These are big things. At the fringes of this team, there's still some battles that are going on. One of them that has my eye is for 6D, particularly that right side. Connor Timmins has played the first 2 games while Timothy Liljegren has watched. Timmins has been able to produce offense anytime he's in the lineup. He just can't stay in the lineup. What are your thoughts on how things are sort of shaping up this season? Elliot Friedman reporting that Timothy Liljegren is someone that they're actively shopping, really.
Yeah. No, I think there's your first example of a new set of eyes. I always felt that Timmins was a guy, you said it, he doesn't get a whole lot of chances, didn't get a whole lot of ice time, and you look down 2 years ago and you go, God, the guy had 14 points in 25 games.
Yeah.
Like, you extrapolate that over 82, that's a heck of a season for a third D pairing. And I think what in talking with Berube a little bit about him, I think you listen to his words and he says, I like the big body, he's a good skater, and he gets the puck and he transfers it up ice. And I think size does have a little play, and that is one thing for Liljegren that, has hurt him in the past, and probably one of the reasons why in those big playoff games he's been in the press box and not on the ice. So he likes that, and I think that's been one of the positives for Timmins here early on.
The depth certainly has come through with the play of Lorentz and McMahon scoring a goal last night. Where are you on Nick Robertson and his chances of holding down his spot all season?
Nick has to learn how to play this game at the high speed that you have to be a regular, at the consistent level that you have to be a regular, and to have the coach's trust. And he has to find a way as the smaller body. So what I noticed about him, I think Justin might have said it before, he gets knocked off the puck far too often for me. Mm-hmm. And one thing you have to learn is use that size, that low center of gravity, but he's got to get his chest and his body up a little bit. To me, if you watch him, he's always hunched over and going into the battle with his head too low. And if I'm a defender that has the physical size and the height advantage, I've got a guy that I can knock off balance or knock him down. And those are the little things you have to learn and have confidence in as a player, to say, when I go into the battle and I'm going up against a 6'5" defender, I'm not going to win the physical battle. So I have to win the mental battle. I have to go in and attack and be under control and have a good stick and pop that puck out and get out the other side. And I think that's where I think without question he's learned the work ethic part of it, and he's a battler and he wants to be there. You can see the desire that he has to stay in the lineup here, but a lot of it has to do with your technique and learning how to be a little bit more efficient in those battles. And I've watched an awful lot of them, and I looked at Cole Caulfield in Montreal early on, had a little bit of that as well. A smaller guy that I thought was way too forward going into the battle and too easy to knock off the puck or knock off balance and take the puck away from him. And he's learned to be under much more control and much more centered gravity. And now you go into those same battles and you come out, instead of being on the ice and the puck's going the other way, you've slowed the play down, you've got some support, and those are the little things from a coach's perspective that go, you start winning more of those little battles, you're going to stay in the lineup. And when you do get your chance offensively, Nick's got a shot that can beat a goaltender from good distance. So those are things that you can't teach. The other ones, I think he's got to learn if he's going to stay in this lineup throughout that stretch.
Simmer, always excellent stuff when you join us. Thanks for coming aboard. Looking forward to having you all season long. Have a great call tomorrow night, Hockey Night in Canada, Pittsburgh and Toronto.
All right, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, Simmer. Appreciate it.
That's Craig Simpson. Listen, they've been trying to move money and Liljegren since the summer. They've got a problem coming up here, guys. They got to move somebody. This is a must. Somebody's got to go.
Okay.
Yarncrook's coming back. Connor Dewar's out there. Hakanpää, when are we going to see him? That's money coming in. Mm-hmm. Somebody has to go. Mm-hmm. It's Liljegren that no one is taking $3 million off the Leafs' hands for Liljegren.
But he's a good player. He's just.
But it's not happening today.
Yeah,
and it probably.
I agree.
It's
in
not
October,
happening.
It's hard.
Everybody thinks that they've got their guys
for
right
sure.
now that they've still got to look at.
Hurt.
No one is desperate right now to add a $3 million defenseman.
Yeah,
and he is a serviceable player.
He's an NHLD.
They only had two choices: sign him or lose him for nothing, and don't sign him and let him walk.
Yeah,
and clearly they signed him, but they're paying a price for it right now because something's got to give. Yarncrook's coming back. That's $2 million right there, and there's a few more other guys.
But they've got little time on that, right? Because Yarncrook was
10 games.
A little time.
10 games. That'll sneak up on you. Speaking of sneaking up on you.
Often people get hurt and solve your problems for you. But
speaking of sneaking up on you, we're going to take texts later in the show after we talk to Colby in studio. We're going to take some texts. But somebody texted me and said, can we get a little love for Matthew Nyes last night and that absolute running back, lower of the shoulder on Dougie Hamilton? Oh, my God.
That was big boy.
My
Remember,
God.
John Riggins for the Washington Redskins. I was in Washington when they won the Super Bowl.
Really?
And that guy
run through people.
Was that guy.
Yeah.
But that was violent last night. Dougie Hamilton did not see that coming.
Guy's 23.
Yeah.
He's going to be a truck.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Years.
Got me off my seat.
Put him on the second line.
Loved it.
By the way.
Yep, me too.
All right. On that note, not so much of a truck. Maybe I don't know,
Colby?
like an yes, Colby. Not a truck. Thought at times he was a truck. But he's probably just like a little
SUV.
Ask Marian Hossa about that. I don't know if he'll agree with you.
A minivan. Colby Armstrong when we return in studio. Let's go national. It's a real Kyper and Bourne show. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee. We are live on Sportsnet 650 in Vancouver, Sportsnet 960 in Calgary. Seen coast to coast on Sportsnet. This hour, Real Kyper and Bourne is brought to you by Bet365. In a few minutes, we'll welcome in Colby Armstrong, former NHLer, Sportsnet hockey analyst on Wednesdays, and host of Chicklets Game Notes.
All right, Sammy.
Have you heard him on that? Should we?
Well, he's not here. Yeah, I heard of it today.
Have you?
Yeah, he's good. He's
Is
cool.
that right?
Yeah, he's cool.
No, Colby's obviously great.
Yeah, he's Colby.
This is like a cousin or a sister to Spit and Chicklets.
Yeah. So I don't really take in any other hockey content.
Well, and I don't mean that to be condescending to that show. I don't listen to. We do our show. I watch video. I read articles.
I'm not allowed to listen
don't
to
listen.
Spit and Checklist. My wife won't let me.
The language is too bad. I just
Listen, if we didn't have
I consume hockey different ways.
I'm sure there'd be a few swears in this show if we didn't have to. There'd be a few swears.
I think the only thing
My
I would
first
change
couple
about
of
this
years,
show-
I kind of forgot we were on the air. And
No,
I had
you
a-
were just.
I had a
fine.
few words that probably I'd like to take back.
I think you wanted it to feel like hockey talk, and it was.
Yeah.
I think
But it was-
Steve Thomas
but
was one of the first guests we had
Hard
our
F.
first week.
We've had probably
multiple hard Fs.
we've had half a dozen F-bombs
Yeah.
on our show.
You know, the biggest question I get is how do you go on air and don't swear? Because when I'm off air,
Yeah, you
I
do.
swear a lot.
Swearing has taken a whole new level, even mainstream. And I know we can't, we don't drop F-bombs on Sportsnet shows,
Family show.
but like it wasn't too long ago that we wouldn't even like bleep F words. And now it's like listening to Connor McDavid on the Face Off for Amazon,
Right.
where that's like headline stuff where
People love it.
it's all about his F-bombs.
You know what's funny? So I was actually talking with my mom today, and she was saying she was sitting near some gentlemen my age who were just F this, F that out in public, and she was just saying grown men would never used to sit near a woman, an older woman, and just have no like swearing culturally is different than it used
Yeah.
to be. It was a big
Do you swear in front of your parents or your mom?
no, okay, rarely, very rarely. I try not. to.
If I drop an F-bomb with my wife in the room, she's letting me know.
Is that right?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
really?
Yeah, she doesn't like it.
Okay, I got the mouth of a sailor though, because I'll swear in front of my mom. I'll swear in front of anyone. I swear.
It's pretty low class, man.
Yeah. Now that I'm talking about it a little bit here, I'm slobbering.
It is kind of.
I'm a swearer.
Well,
Is this an intervention?
I like it. I
I'm
like
meaning to talk to you.
if I get wound up,
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm like Sammy too, and
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I kind of don't like myself for it.
Okay.
I think it doesn't bother me, but I do think that there is some value in picking your settings a little bit.
It's effect too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you're not if you're mad or you effing mad.
Yeah.
Or,
there
you
are
know,
levels.
A big goal in the playoffs release. Let's go turns into let's effing go.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Sure. Okay. Okay.
Anyways.
There's value.
All
Speaking
right.
of swearing, there's probably some people in the Florida Panthers organization swearing today about Barkov going into the boards awkwardly, getting helped off.
We've seen him on occasion disappear like that.
Yeah.
I mean, they had a heck of a run last year, right, all the way to the Stanley Cup, and he managed to stay healthy. But he's had his fair share of injuries, and he's just so important to them.
He is. More so and more important than that. Excuse me. Shout out to the Ottawa Senators.
Oh my God, they won.
Sennies come out of the gates not just with a win, but a win against the Florida Panthers. The cattle whisperer, Linus Allmark, with a great first night. I think Ottawa has a soft second game. Like, okay,
So
here we go.
yesterday after the show, I got a message from Aaron Downey, who's ex-NHLer alumni. And he's like, yeah, if you're a cowboy, you get that reference from Allmark. Yeah, it makes total sense, right? About cows and
I
all of
tweeted
that.
the clip that someone else shared
Oh, yeah.
today. There's no doubt it makes sense, but like Briz wasn't wrong that the universe is humongous big. It's just a weird time to reference it. That's all. It's not wrong. It's just,
whatever it is, it worked.
yeah.
Right? He was very good, and the team had a huge effort and
I'll
sent
get
a
it away for
message that maybe they might be ready to challenge, or do we
Well,
just look at the first couple of games and just say
They have been in 20 games in, they've been last, second last, the last 5 years. So we're just hoping they can win enough to get competitive and be in the fight soon enough. Well, look at
All
this
right.
here.
Speaking of being in the fight, let's welcome in Colby Armstrong, who's
What's up, buddy?
worked here for probably off and on 10, 12 years, and still found a way to get lost to our studio. Oh, mic
Good.
on?
Press the on button, the red one there. Yeah.
On.
Okay.
Very good.
No entry music when I come on.
Nothing.
Just
No intro.
boring.
Because here's Colby.
But Great to see you guys.
Great to see you too, pal.
Even with no intro music.
Yeah, I know. I don't need much.
Needed a stone cold breaking glass coming into the room. But
something,
no.
right?
Sorry, pal.
But I'm fired up to be here. I'm giving a tour for some local Penguins fans that are here that we're friends with.
Amazing.
Hi,
Hello,
Penguins
everyone.
So I kind of brought them in to like scout what I do and
Yes.
show them how cool our studios are
Yes.
here.
Yeah.
And, mostly like the hockey side. So we had to make our way over here. It's like amazing here.
Has he pretended like he knows what he's doing for the most part?
You know what
He's
my
very
secret
good at
is?
it. What
My
is it?
secret saying is, I have no clue what I'm doing, but I know exactly what I'm doing. If that makes any sense.
It definitely doesn't, which is perfect for
Darren
you.
Millard all those years, and it'd be like 2 seconds before the red light comes on. I'm like, what are we doing?
Hey, what are we talking
What
about
are we
today?
doing?
No,
What
I
are we
know,
doing?
right?
Yeah.
And there'd be like full panic.
I've actually heard that that's something you would regularly say.
Oh,
pre-show.
yeah, I have no
What are we
clue
talking
what
about
we're
again?
doing. Yeah, Carolyn Cameron.
Yeah.
So,
Carolyn,
Actually
what are we
saw
doing?
CC
Yeah.
the beach today.
So where do you want to start just in terms of storylines? We're going to go right across the board. I know you opened up for Wednesday night hockey here
Yeah.
with the guys, Toronto and Montreal. Where do you want to go?
Well, obviously the first thing that jumps out to me is just something I feel, and you guys as players probably start of the year. I feel like from what I know of hockey, the way hockey's going defensively, meat and potatoes hockey. We see a few teams that play that style, but I think what we're seeing, especially early here, is teams that play that style find it a little easier to get to their game.
Yeah.
And the teams that are off the rush execution, rely on sharpness, timing in the first couple games of the season here, it's a little bit more difficult for them.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks a little ugly. A lot of it's mentality too, right? Oh, yeah, here we go again, right?
Yeah.
But I think from what I'm seeing, it's a little bit of that until teams can truly get their legs and their brains
Right.
rolling in the right spot.
So you do a lot of coverage of the Pittsburgh Penguins who are going to Toronto on Saturday night. Have they just played the one game against the Rangers?
No,
they played Detroit last night. I was in
that's
Detroit
right.
last
They said they
night,
gotta
buddy.
win.
Convincing.
Yeah, that's right.
Like-
Didn't see that one.
You know
Tale
what
of
happened?
two stories, right?
Yeah.
They
so
stunk and they were good last night.
Horrible the whole way through, back to front, everything. And then the next night, Blomqvist, their rookie goaltender in his first NHL game, he was all-star in the American League last year, stood on his head,
Yeah.
had a great game, a great showing, and the Penguins found their legs in the second period. The forecheck got going, kind of that meat and potato style,
Yeah.
and they found their game. They started to get going, and then, you score, you get some confidence, things start feeling a little better. But, yeah, tale of two teams. So who knows Saturday night? It's big. Pretty
Right.
cool, though, boys. Rangers opening night. Then I'm in Detroit. Haven't been to Little Caesars Arena ever, too.
There's
It was cool
awesome.
to go there. Yeah, really nice. And then Leafs Saturday night, Hockey Night in Canada, which is so cool. And then off to Montreal on this road trip. So those original 6 teams right out the gates, it's pretty good
That's
way to
awesome.
start the year.
Colby is doing everything this year. You're doing Penguins broadcasts. You're doing some work with us here as well.
Yep.
You're doing
Game notes.
TNT, game notes, Chicklets game notes.
Yeah, did that today. So just
Your kid's going to call you uncle by March?
yeah, I know. It's ridiculous. But
Hey, Uncle Colby's back to visit.
with they'd expect me to put like bigger bags of money on the table, but I don't.
So the Penguins then, since you've seen both sides of it, the concern, I guess, is that the best players there have gotten old.
Yeah.
Malkin and Carlson. Do they still have the legs? Is it going to be there this year?
Well, Gino got his 800 assists last night.
And he was
That's a
pretty
lot.
good.
Yeah.
And he's looked great in camp. Like he's got jump and he's got 2 goals away from 500 goals.
Okay.
So like he was pretty pumped to get that puck on that 800th
Was he?
milestone assist. So I think like there's like an added drive to him. He's got jump in his legs. I talked to him about it. He's like, I got this steal. I usually get it like profiled, but he just took it out of the box and sharpened it. He says like, buddy, I'm flying. I thought that was pretty good for
Like
an
someone
old
getting a new
timer.
driver thinking they added 10
Yeah,
yards.
yeah. But he looks like he has good jump. Like he's looked good through camp, through preseason, and early. Well, last game, no one looked good in the first game really, but last games look good. So I think those guys will always be there. They're just Gino's a little more bull-like with his play and can get circling and looping and stuff, but. Sid knows when to dial it in and when to, create at the right time. Like he could be a little quiet through some of the games, but when he gets his puck in a certain area with a guy on his back. They seem to get it done. Carlson missed a little bit with injury. Is now back. Scored their first power play goal of the season, which is obviously a big topic.
That would be good.
Yeah, second last in the league last year on the power play was not good.
So,
and maybe one of the reasons why they didn't battle into that last wild card spot.
So, do we assume that the Pittsburgh Penguins are somewhere between being embarrassed by the Rangers and beating Detroit last night
and feeling good
and feeling okay? So, is that going to be good enough for this team? Is it going to be good enough for the city? I can only imagine what those fans, and many of them had left by the third period.
They were booing and like Bronx cheering them. And
so, like, where is this team when it's all said and done? And Colby, I want to get into it a little bit with Sid re-signing and the time that it took him to sign. And what does that mean for this year and next year?
Yeah,
for Sid and the fans if they don't find a way to make the playoffs.
Yeah, well, I think looking at it, and Fenway Sports Group, right, ownership and when they went and signed though, like Malkin and Letang a few years ago to that extension, when there was like these guys aren't going to be back. There was that leading into that. Then they signed Letang at the draft in Montreal, and Gino followed. But once that happened, like Sid's coming back, so he signs that extension. But like the mandate from going from okay, well, these guys are going to leave, we're going to flip things over here now. You look at the age and what you're looking to do. The cupboards are bare. They haven't had first-round picks in forever, and they've always been going for it and had teams that are, contenders. I think right now with the core guys and trying to bring in a Rucker McGroarty, trying to get some games for this Blomqvist and having some prospects pop. We haven't had in Pittsburgh like a young player come in since those back-to-back cups when it was like, Brian Rust and those guys were popping up. Gensel and Connor Sherry and Tom Kuhnackel and Carter Rowney. Like these are some guys that were brought up, the Wilkes-Barre guys, they call them, the American League guys. So it's been a long time since some of these players and some prospects and some young guys. And so I think they're kind of in between right now. You see them bring in, Beauvillier and some of these guys, Hayes, and some guys that are in positions where they can kind of supplement, and we know what they are. Maybe they can have a good year for us, right? We've seen them be good before. And so it's kind of in the middle right now. And I think that the expectations were tampered pretty good with Kyle Dubas this year, a little bit on the team. But at the same time, like, who knows? If that power play can be half decent and they could play like really the last 13 games of the season last year where they were a completely different team. And with the, insurgence of, some younger faces and legs, I don't know, because that bottom part of the Eastern Conference, boys, is, I think it's up for grabs.
Yeah.
Like when you look at it.
So
wild card 1, wild card 2, what else, right?
Yeah.
It's
Well, I
there.
mean, you mentioned with all that talent, they finished 31st in the power play last year.
Yeah.
You finished 15th and you're in the playoffs for sure.
I got you going to move on? I want one more, Sid.
Go ahead. Stick with Sid.
Okay. I hated the fact that Sid didn't get a raise. I think it's a bad look. Of course, we love Sid. He can do whatever he wants. He's not 27 or 28. He's, later 30s.
Yeah.
I get it. But I still think it's a bad look for the league, not for Sid or anything else. But I will say this, that a 2-year extension means that we can finally put to rest that he will ever go anywhere else. You agree or disagree?
I agree. And I know I've always bugged Sid, like I'm the loudmouth in his ear, and he's like the composed, smart face of the league. And I'd be like, dude, why'd you sign that long deal? Like, look what Austin did. He signed that 5-year deal. He gets a roll with the, cap, and you get to max. He's like, man, when I signed that deal, like everyone signed those deals, like Taves and Kane and these guys.
Yeah,
and
I also like to get out of the first round a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And he was just like, that was how it was done at that time,
How long was that deal he had signed?
13, I think.
13 year, yeah.
Oh, man, that's gross.
8.7.
Like, look at NBA players.
What other superstar never got a raise in 15 years?
Yeah, crazy, right? For what he's done. And then 93, 94 points, 82 games the last 2 seasons when he's old and done. And that power play had been going. He's 100 points, and that's 50-goal season last year. For sure. And they didn't trade Gensel maybe too. You'd have probably got there.
Yeah.
So and also the thing in talking to him is like he's fully aware. He's like so different. Like he's fully aware of his age and his ability and the health of the franchise. And in the last year of that deal, if it's not going his way, that he saddles. What if he signs 3 instead of a 2-year extensions and he saddles the Pens with a 35 over dinger on the cap?
Right.
And
that's a good point.
He's thoughtful that way about the game, Kyper. And I guess that's what separates him a little bit. And I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
When you see, Shesterkin turning down a whatever contract in his prime and all these guys in these contract situations coming up. And I think it's just, he's more thoughtful at his age in his career of where he's at and what's.
I also got to think the Fenway group might have asked him, what are your plans?
Yeah, I
after
wonder if like
retirement?
post after this. Yeah.
Right?
I wonder.
Oh,
Hey,
interesting.
what do you think?
There might be work available for you. Not saying
What do
there
you,
is. Not
what do you
saying
want
there
to
isn't.
do? Yeah, exactly. What's
You
the
want to be a
highest paid-
lifetime Penguin?
What's the highest ambassador
What do they
contract
call
in
that? Is it like the
sports?
gold
Such a good
parachute,
point. Yeah.
eye wink, and handshake, Kyper?
I remember.
Don't you worry, Sid.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm
think it's
familiar
smart.
with alumni and guys get paid X per game they go to. A lot of these older guys. So I'm sure if Sid will have some opportunities to earn some
Or
money
like
back.
GM or, assistant GM or.
Buddy, whatever you
King
want.
Emperor of the
Why don't
Penguins.
you just
I
put
think
on a
he
suit
could-
and keep showing up to the rink and
Emperor
you're a
Penguin?
Penguin.
That makes
Yeah,
sense.
Emperor, yeah.
Ownership.
Can I turn the Sid page yet?
Yes, I'm
You want to
good
ask
with
about
Sid.
his extended family or
I
anything?
want- Gotta
right.
look after Sid because Sid looked after the league for
Yeah.
a lot of years.
He did. I do want to talk about age, though. And, these older players, and for the Penguins, it hasn't worked out, but they're an older team. They're the 3rd oldest team in the NHL. I don't know if you guys could guess
Who's
the
the
oldest
oldest?
are.
Edmonton, I think, right?
Yes.
You know who's up there too?
Crazy.
Chicago.
Yes. Good answer. I'm talking about that on the television tonight. The Chicago's 5th, Edmonton's 1st. Edmonton is a year older on average than the 2nd oldest team, the Nashville Predators. The Oilers have 1 forward under 30 on their team. It's Podkolzin. So they're old. Doesn't matter. Can you, short summer, back-to-back here, is that a good thing or a bad thing that they're veteran experience, trying to win a cup as the oldest team in the NHL?
Well, my buddy off my podcast there, Game Notes, got in trouble last season or stirred up some controversy for talking about number 1 D-men that are under 6 feet and the success of winning with D-men like that.
And is there any?
He went down at like a massive list of like
And Canucks
listing
fans are
all-
mad?
Yeah. Very mad. But they've got some monsters around him there in Vancouver. Like everyone's like 6'4" around
Right.
him. But is so like, does it matter or doesn't it? Or is you? I think having some youth around for the enthusiasm and the grind is, I think, good. I think healthy for teams. Can you win with it? Yeah, I think you can. Yeah. I think you can.
It's not prohibitive to be old.
We're seeing Stamkos and Mustard last night for you.
Weird.
Weird.
Who's the weirdest you've ever seen?
Brett Hull, Arizona.
I can't even think of that.
But
But it happened.
Gretzky St. Louis still was weird
it's
to
weird.
me.
Text us, 590-590.
Jerome McGinley in any other jersey but a Flames jersey. He was a Penguin. He was a Bruin. He was a Av. Was he an Av for a bit too?
But
LA.
I saw a picture of Rick Tocchet in a Boston Bruin uniform. I'm like, when?
Yeah.
Well, Bobby Orr playing for the
slept through that.
Blackhawks also, I wasn't around to watch that, but, you don't see many pictures of that, but it existed. It's out there.
Do you like Nashville's push and commitment to now, through free agency, think that they're going to compete in the West?
I like it. Will it work out? I don't know. Pretty good risk to take to go and get some marquee guys that are good in their spots and can add to the depth of your team. I I think one guy that's getting overlooked in all of it, though, and maybe not, maybe I'm just saying this because I got called out for saying he was underrated, is Forsberg there.
Yeah.
Like, well, how many goals are you going to score this year, too? And we're talking about everyone else, which is kind of cool. But I like what Trotz did. I like his aggressiveness with their team and where some of their guys were at. They the last few years leading up to, like, they had guys that were, their American League guys that were, almost got them in the playoffs. And so that was a world of experience for some of their guys. They kind of turned it around quick, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
And, then you're in a position where you can go make something happen. Like, would you have Yossi up there as your D-man of the year this year? Norris?
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I would. I'm like, what's he going to do? He's done it already. Like, he's been the guy. Like, how many points is he going to, like, they're looking on paper, like, they're at the top of the list in the West for probably a lot of people, top 4 teams that you look at that you're going, oh boy,
right,
great job this summer.
Yeah.
Can Craig Berube grab the attention of the Toronto Maple Leafs like Rick Tocchet did last year for the Vancouver Canucks?
I think he can. So in talking about the Leafs this year, the thing with me about them is that exact topic is like a bomb in my brain that I keep going, this is the difference. Mm-hmm. This is the mentality change difference that they need. How long will it take for them to get there? But, I look at like Florida, right? Like they play playoff hockey all year long. It's hard to do.
Right.
I look at the Leafs. If he can get them pushed in that direction to play that style of hockey or the style that you'd want your team to play in the playoffs, but you have the caliber of players that they have inside of that, being able to do that, like that's the ultimate goal.
Right.
Because I think they're done messing around with what they've done the last number of years, right? Like these players and stuff too. So I think it's a good change. I think it's the right mentality. And I think ultimately in my brain, I'm going, it's the difference maker that's for them that they need.
Have you played for any coaches that you felt like able to push a button in a different way? The way that Tocchet came in, obviously very different than Boudreau. Would you have responded better for someone like that than?
Yeah, that's a good question. I've had Michel Therrien for like almost my entire career, the minors in Pittsburgh. Then I had him later in Montreal.
Oh boy.
And
that's a hard coach.
Yeah, he's hard.
Yeah.
And he was simplistic with his message and a simplistic style of play, but demanding. Yeah. And I think that's what those guys are, right? I think that's what they demand and what they push towards. And I love Berube's interviews. He's as close we'll get.
Our show.
But he could cancel our show.
Yeah.
On some days.
Didn't say anything.
No, I know. He's like borderline, like we're back in the, LA interviews with Sutter.
Yeah.
And I love it.
It is funny.
But he's a simple guy. He wants hard work. He wants a style of play that works, that he knows. And there's a simplistic way about the way he talks to people too. Like it's great.
Can we give some love to Winnipeg Jets for shellacking the Stanley Cup finalists?
Mm-hmm. Shellacking. Like, is Lowry on Team Canada?
That's actually a funny.
Just put him on it after night one. But that
line he's on for years now. They've been awesome. Yeah,
they're awesome. But he's a horse. He's good on faceoffs. He's physical. Like he can check. He can do stuff that, let's face it, a lot of guys that are going to be on that team don't want to do.
Right. Yeah.
And he can produce.
Yeah.
And he's been one of their more consistent, good, steady, all around guys. And he's huge.
Yeah. He's got a lot of.
They're sneaky, aren't they?
Like Jordan Stahl.
Yeah.
That's what Lowry's turned himself into.
Yeah. Monster in a good spot, not overextended. Good spot for him in that lineup and important with his line. But they're sneaky, man.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know I was on the bandwagon last year, hardcore. Then it all came crashing down.
Yeah.
Hard.
It has for a lot
of
of
broadcast that I was working here in the playoffs when I was like, it's on Hellebuck's shoulders to steal this period and win the game. And then he just was a light show.
And Kyle Connor is not the first guy you think of when you think about top scorers, but he is a top scorer.
He's a beast.
He is so good.
Shaved his head this year. Do you see that? Doesn't have the slick back Gingy going. He's got the shaved buzz cut head.
He's gonna
a little faster.
He's gonna have to wear knit caps.
But like Perfetti,
Winnipeg,
can Perfetti be like an explosion this year? Wouldn't that be something for them?
Yeah.
But they just play solid. They play in your face, frustrating, solid hockey with ability to get it going. Like that game, Lowry's line got it going, and it took a while. Then the big boys, bing, 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 just started scoring. And then Hellebuck.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. No, he's the guy.
Ottawa Senators as well. Some people have him in. Some people have him out.
I had him in last year.
You had him in last year. So you got to go again this year.
I went off them this year because I gave up.
Oh, you did.
I gave up. I like them, though. I think they're an exciting team. I think, the Allmark edition, the look to add some veteran guys, which has been big convo around that team and that group. Prove it to me.
Yeah, need a little something early.
Two teams that haven't needed desperately good starts that apparently don't
They're
have
fast.
them.
They're skilled.
Detroit and Buffalo.
Hey, they play physical too.
Ottawa? Yeah. Wow. Look at Brady.
They're a bear of a team if they could string together some consistency and get some goaltending as well. But they're an exciting team to me. Like I've been excited about them for the last number of years, but it's just
Who's
they're
feeling
just
it
leaking
more
oil
out of Buffalo and Detroit? Stevie Y or Kevin Adams?
Who's in a worse spot right now?
Well, just who's feeling more pressure?
It's crazy, right? Because you have Buffalo on a wild card hunt, maybe, and we keep trying to push Buffalo into there, and they haven't shown us anything like they could be in there. I think Buffalo. I think Adams.
Yeah. Well,
It's
I look
just
at
like,
Detroit. I'm not necessarily saying Detroit has to make the playoffs, but enough of the talk about we've drafted well and we got good young players.
Yeah.
They have to go and win.
Yeah. Actual series.
This year. They have to win games and they got to put themselves.
Yeah.
I know they were close last year, but the next step is making the playoffs. It's not being close again.
Yeah. Results, business, and it hasn't been there.
Hasn't been there. All right, we got to get to game time and Sammy and
Is it
Tex.
over already?
Yeah.
All right, Colb. So are you around every week now?
I'm like hit or miss depending on my schedule to be in here. But they got rid of Mondays. So I was like the Monday, Tuesday guy forever, Barney. You know that in there, grinding away. And then got in some Mondays last year and then gone.
Yeah.
So now I'm a Wednesday guy.
Well, welcome to Wednesdays. We're glad to have you.
Buddy, you built up Wednesday so much that they sold it for
Mondays, yeah.
hundreds of millions of dollars. Gazillions. Did you see any of it?
No.
None. Hard no.
Can't wait to get home after this road. Honey, I'm home with this. Where's the money?
Really appreciate you coming in for us
I love
today on
seeing
the
you
Friday.
guys. I love it.
We love having you.
He's
as well.
dominating,
Thanks a lot.
boys.
We appreciate it.
He is Colby Armstrong. Always a welcome addition on the Real Kyper and Bourne Show. When we come back, a few news and notes, and we'll take your text messages at, what's the number again?
590.
Yeah, I knew that.
Yeah, you did.
Back after these words. All right, down the stretch we come this week. This hour, Real Kyper and Bourne, brought to you by Bet365. Okay, that was a fast first full week. Is that? Did I say that right?
You did say it right. Was it our first full week? Time did fly. Yeah, I guess it was. Yeah.
So I'm having technical issues. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
You can hear me?
Yeah.
And everybody else out there can hear me?
I can't speak for them. So.
They're probably
Yes is
forced
the
to.
answer.
Yes.
Derek, text me
Yes.
and tell me that they can hear me.
Derek says yes. You're good.
Okay. All right. This is very odd. I can't hear you in my headphones, so it's strange, but we'll power on. Game time, boys?
Game time.
All right, it's game time. Presented by Bet365. Visit the app for latest odds and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. Couple things for tonight. Tampa Bay are in Carolina to take on the Hurricanes. Tampa Bay underdog today. Somewhat surprising to me. Plus 125. Carolina minus 150 on home ice. I don't know if I love that line from a Carolina perspective. And the Philadelphia Flyers in Vancouver to take on the Canucks. Flyers are plus 150. Vancouver minus 185. Huge favorites. Little thing that I got for you here. Same game parlay for the Lightning game. Love a Jake Gensel goal and a Lightning win. Gensel goal in his debut would pay plus 325. So that's a little one that I cooked up for. hit my anytime goal scorer last night. Macklin Celebrini scores in his NHL debut. Not exactly the most beautiful goal you're ever going to get for your first one, but hey, it went in the net. It's his first one, so good for him. Get off the schneid. Watched a bit of that game. Thought he looked pretty impressive. He was flying around
assist.
out there. Yeah.
Draymond Green in the house.
Yeah.
Draymond obviously worked with Celebrini's dad. I shouldn't say obviously.
Pretty good.
Worked with Celebrini's dad with the Golden State Warriors.
Pretty good list too, right? Since 2000, he joins what a.
Do you want to hear the
handful of
guys that have
guys.
scored in their debut? First overall picks. Ovechkin scored in his debut. Tavares scored in his debut. The Nuge scored in his debut. Austin Matthews scored in his debut.
Into a dangerous
Gonna
area.
be-
and good things.
he's got a chance to be real special for San Jose.
Is it weird to me that it's very off-putting the numbers on their top line with Eklund wearing 72, Celebrini wearing 71, and Tyler Toffoli wearing 73? That they're all wearing like
Football
numerical numbers. Like I don't know. It does not look good to me.
Doesn't
Too
quite
many
hockey.
70s.
Yeah.
Too many 70s. It does look like an offensive line out there with those three numbers. So
Yeah.
that's a little pointless thing, but it did jump out to me. Anyways, that was Game Time presented by Bet365. Visit the app for latest odds and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Please play responsibly.
It's got to be a little unnerving for the Tampa Bay Lightning, right? Knowing what just happened back home and having family and friends and obviously themselves affected by it. Like, this is a tough time to focus and play on hockey, knowing what's going on back home.
Yeah, there's no doubt. There's some real world life getting in the way of our silly little game here. So, hopefully everything's all right. Obviously, it didn't end up being the worst case scenario, but still ended up pretty awful for a lot of people. So,
We have a few texts, and by a
Okay.
few, I mean a lot. But there's a really great one, a swearing
oh, hey,
story.
before you tell us that, one thing I want to correct. I asked you about players under 30 on the Oilers. I meant aside from McDavid and Draisaitl, who are 27-28.
Okay.
Oh, so
There you go.
obviously you got crap by somebody on social media and said, like, you're,
I
you're
got a text,
stupid.
and I was like, did I not say
Justin,
that?
you're stupid.
Yeah, I got called a dumb. Anyway,
What? So this is apparently a morning show in Vancouver story about swearing on air. One time, famously on the Halford and Bruff morning show, Jason spent the first 3 to 4 minutes of the show trying to set Mike off, and he straight up told him to F off at 6:04 a.m. And to this day, it's one of my favorite moments. One simple F off.
that's the most Jason Bruff story I've ever heard. I love it.
Not too long ago, like, you're fired. Like, you're done.
Yeah.
You'll never work in the industry again. And now we're just all having a laugh.
Yeah, I mean, I think there were intentional swear words are different than whoops, did I let that one slide, aren't they?
So there's a ton of submissions for person who looked the weirdest in a jersey.
Yeah.
On the text line. I don't know if you want to get into some of those, but there's a ton of those. So lots of Allmark love on the text line, lots of more continued Ottawa talk on the text line. I think if you're a Sens fan, that win last night has to be one of the most exciting wins that you could possibly have.
Yeah.
Just over the Florida Panthers, defending Cup champion. You're I know we mentioned it a bit before we got to Colby, but like having him look that good in against a tough game, just they usually lose that game.
Yes.
Right?
Buddy, they're usually 4-14 by, middle of November. So
And that was all but admitted by some of the players in their post-game comments, was that we just found ways to lose these type of games the last few years.
I know you use a lot of golf metaphors. Before we came in here, we were talking about the Sabres, and it's like, it's tough to play a good round of golf when you triple the first hole, like Buffalo has done this season. They've come out loss. It's like, you got to play great from here on out.
So as Allmark always had this kind of take it off, the rails a little bit with comments, as he got a little
just hasn't
Brizgalov
been
in him
Canada
that we
enough.
don't know. And because he's in Canada now, we're going to hear more of it because
I hope so.
it would break up the year
Yeah.
for us if we had a few more of these
I think what
kind of
happens
comments.
is people play for Canada for the first time, or a Canadian team for the first time. They say something like that, like Mikheyev, who literally once said, "I like soup." And he had a Campbell's sponsorship commercials and a nickname within a day.
Yeah.
I think here things
That's
just get
Toronto,
beat
though.
to death.
That's just
Phil Achari,
that's a-
nickname Cookie. Here's a Tim Hortons sponsorship.
Kipper, I think, have we ever asked you about, like, have you been in commercials and stuff? Like, I don't know if we've talked about this with you.
Are you joking right now?
No,
No.
Open his Instagram page today.
No, like, obviously. Not the wetting the beak right now. I meant like back in the day, like as a player.
No.
No?
No. Nobody got, no fourth liners got any work in
No.
commercials. Like I did a lot of promos for the league.
Yeah.
ESPN ran these fun
Yeah.
promos that I always got pushed into, or actually I leaped into.
There's a great 1980s Islanders ad set in Playboy. Where, it's like Clark Gillies, Bobby Nystrom, Dennis Poffin, these guys throwing on the brakes like snow spraying in underwear.
Yeah.
For whatever Hanes line or whatever.
Yeah.
But there wasn't much in the way of that
It's still hard for our league in general for players to really grab an endorsement deal.
Yeah, like
And,
Sid is
like
probably
Connor
the most.
Bedard,
He's probably
we've-
making a couple mil a year doing it, not 20.
No, exactly. Like if you want to compare it to other sports, it's just like there's just no market.
Right.
There's no market. Like here in Canada, I think I've had these conversations with you before. Like for a Connor or an Austin, it's probably starting around $250,000
To do a commercial or
to-
something, yeah.
to be associated with a major company in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Again, you're talking of 40 million people.
Yeah.
Where in the States, Curry's talking to 400 million people.
Sure.
Big difference.
Dollar amounts change.
Yeah. But, there's more than we've ever seen before, but it's just really reserved for a handful of guys. Everybody else has got to just, grind it out with their
Cash your check.
base salary.
Your 3/4 mil.
Of 2.5 million, 3 million.
I do think that the final last year was a bit of a crossover moment for hockey in terms of it making its way into the more, general sports universe in the States. No, like
Connor McDavid has a chance to.
It's still hard to move the needle in the States for the NHL. But
if Connor played for the Rangers or something, it might be different.
I listen to Bill Simmons podcast. I listen to Ryan Russillo podcast. Like these are like big American podcasts.
Yeah.
And like during that time, it was popping up in there. They were having a quick conversation about it. Like to me, for it to kind of make its way into that echelon, that's got to lead to more endorsements. It's got to lead to more money. Like the cap's got to go up. Like it's just they have to make more money.
I think Gary's gone on record already saying the health of the league has never been better.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, we could be closing in after this year at about $6.5 billion of revenue.
And the cap just can't go up
Well,
beyond. I wonder if the next CBA will
the
take
cap
a huge
is
jump.
artificially down.
Right,
You
because
got to
of
understand that
COVID
it's not a real
escrow.
reflective number to where the revenue is, because they negotiated coming out of the pandemic to wipe out the debt.
Will it
on
get there
the
though?
escrow.
Then, like, will it eventually?
Oh, yeah. And I think the $14 million that Leon Draisaitl signed was more of a reflection of a $100 million payroll, and not 88.
Do you think then? So it sounds like the salary cap is going to go up $5 million per year for the next 10 years, whatever the max inflator is. Is that going to take the kneecaps out of any franchises whose owners did not sign up for a franchise where payroll is $120 million?
The answer is, I believe, yes. And I'd be really nervous if I was, say, the Winnipeg Jets.
Oh, really?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, revenue is a challenge there, to the point where Gary Bettman went there last year to remind people in the community that they've got to find a way to either attend or, more importantly, I think, find whatever corporate world there is out there and support the Jets.
The curiosity there is, like, franchises are worth so much money now. Like, the Jets as a franchise must be worth $1.5 billion.
They're worth that, not because of
the money they earn
or the business model. Like, no one would come in and look at the business model and say,
this is going to print money.
"Oh, this is good. This is good." This is just grabbing the right amount of billionaires.
This is Balenciaga. This is a accessory, a fashion accessory.
This is
Artificial.
rich people saying I want to be part of a really exclusive golf club, and if it's 500 or a million to get in or 1.2, I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm never going to see that money again. I don't buy equity in the golf course, but I'm joining
I'm
it.
in.
I'm
Okay.
in.
Yeah,
And that's what's gone on with franchise fees.
Gotcha.
So, did you guys touch on this waiver thing from this week?
No, but let's.
Okay, so I wasn't really familiar with the stylings of Raphael Lavoie before this week, but so this is. Can I read this to you? This is a tweet from CJ.
When did
from
it
Chris
start?
Johnson.
October?
On October 6th. This is his wild waiver week continues. On October 6th, he was placed on waivers by the Edmonton Oilers.
Okay.
On October 7th, he was claimed by the Vegas Golden Knights.
Good for him.
On October 8th, he was placed on waivers by the Vegas Golden Knights.
Okay.
On October 9th, my birthday that you guys forgot, he was claimed on waivers by the Edmonton Oilers. On the following day, October 10th, he was placed on waivers by the Edmonton Oilers.
That's the weird one.
And then on October 11th, he was claimed, which is today, by the Vegas Golden Knights. And the Knights were the only team to submit a waiver claim on him. And therefore, he can be sent directly to the AHL Henderson Silver Knights. What the hell is going on?
So,
First question I have for you two. Is he traveling?
probably not.
Is he getting on the plane every time here? Like, what's going on?
I don't know. That's a great question. I don't know the
Yes.
answer.
Yes?
Think so?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not?
I guess
Living at
if
the
you
airport.
genuinely believe you're going to play for that team, you would travel. But
Yeah.
so when you claim a player off waivers, you can't just claim a guy and stack your AHL team. So let's say Edmonton drops him and Vegas wants him for the AHL team. They claim him. And
But he is on his way down to the American
I know,
Hockey League.
but
for
if
this.
you put him on waivers immediately after a waiver claim,
Yes.
the team that waived him can claim him back and say, no. He's going, we still want him. You can't just have him on your
Yeah.
American League team. So then Edmonton reclaims him, which fine, that does happen. But then they put him back on waivers the next day, which I don't get. So then you don't want him.
I don't think Edmonton ever had a thought that this guy was a top prospect. I think the idea was to have him as a depth guy that could come up possibly. I don't even think that he would have been considered the first guy to be brought back up in
Right.
if they needed to replace somebody.
Right.
So he's a decent shooter.
Big score in the AHL. He had 28 goals last year in 66
all right.
games.
So he's
pretty good for the
one
AHL.
of those.
Yeah.
But he won't score. He wouldn't play on Edmonton's power play.
Yeah.
So I think it was always a depth play for these clubs, and it's very rare that we see this. I do recall, I think, one time Eric Comrie, remember him?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't he get? Didn't he go through a certain window where he was up and down and claimed and waivers and claimed and waivers too? So it doesn't happen very often.
Right.
For the most part, waivers is a good thing for the players because if you can't use them, then expose them to other teams and give you.
Someone
Don't
can.
bury me.
Yeah.
Just don't bury me. So it works for the most part for players, but in this instance, I don't know if Vegas had a sticking it to the Oilers.
So I wonder now if there's some sort of bitterness between. It seems like two management groups. They can't love each other after this.
Well, that's what I was going to say. To me, looking at this from an outside perspective, there's no way this just isn't a you-know-what swinging contest where they're like, okay, I'm taking him now. No, you take him. Like, it just clearly looks like these two management teams hate each other.
Yeah.
And they're just using this poor kid
Maybe.
flying cross-country. Like, that's the only thing that it looks like. But maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know. Maybe he's so undeniable for the AHL team that they had to sign him up.
Could be.
So do you guys want to hear some of these weird sweater things?
Yes.
I'm just pulling some of them up. The one that I definitely forgot about totally that this ever happened was Marty Brodeur in St. Louis.
Oh, yeah. I hated that. That reminds me of Brett Favre going to play for the Vikings, where it was just like such clearly like a shot at the old team. I don't like that.
How many games do you think he played for the St. Louis Blues?
Because he played one or two.
7.
Played 7?
7 games for them with a 8.99 save percentage.
Which kind of brings us to
Showed them in New Jersey.
our earlier conversation with Colby Armstrong. Is I'm really happy that I'm not going to see potentially Sid in another uniform.
Yeah.
I
wouldn't
not
mind seeing what it looks like in blue
I
and
know,
white.
I know, and everybody felt the same way with other players that end their careers somewhere else. But,
But I do like players to say, I have X amount of years to play in the league. I want to win Stanley Cups. And I'm loyal to this organization who's been loyal to me and all that. But if we don't have a chance to win, what am I playing for? Which I appreciated that Patrick Marleau said, I'm going to try something else. I didn't love that Getzlaf said, I'm going to play one more year and no way.
I have so much respect for Sid that if he feels like that's not the be all end all for him, like let's be honest here. He can look at his lineup and go, stinky. And he would have left by now.
Yeah.
He would have been gone by now.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have signed a 2-year extension, but
I think he thinks they can win. I do. I think he believes in the core guys that have won before.
Well, maybe that's his challenge then.
They weren't the best in 16 or 17.
They've been playing together forever.
Yeah.
They're just like,
he
he
just
sees
feels
them
like
as
they can veteran freak it together at the right time.
Okay. Which again is his right. And if that's his challenge today, then 90-point guy still playing at a very high level, like, don't doubt me. That's my challenge.
But these superstars are like appropriately delusional, where like Tiger Woods thought he could win tournaments and whatever. And then he had the 2019 Masters, and you have these guys that have these one-off crazy years when they're old. It happens.
But the delusion part's part of the reason why they are who they are.
Exactly.
That's exactly my point.
Yeah.
It's like that, like
Right.
self-belief to a
you.
point of like
But it's
insanity.
It's very, very rare that it just
Pans out.
ends perfectly the way you want to at the end.
You know what,
It usually ends up 7 games with the Blues.
It ends up with, hosting your hiring your podcast host as your coach and getting your son drafted to the Lakers. That's usually how it ends. Last thing here. We're currently witnessing one of the weird jersey guys. Max Pacioretty in a Leafs jersey from Jeff and Barry.
Yeah.
Feel like that's one we look back on in 3 years. Be like, wow, that was weird.
How about turtleneck?
He's not.
Mechanic. He was a Leaf.
If I can recall, there was another Leaf player that has worn number 67.
I don't think so.
No?
Recently?
Old Newsy Lazim
Yes.
from.
I think. Well, what's recent to you? I want to go 20 years.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Leafs to wear 67.
Oh, Sammy, nothing comes to mind, eh?
No. Does it come to mind for you?
I got nothing.
I'm quickly Googling here, but I don't think I'm going to be able to pull
A
it up.
defenseman.
Furious Googling reveals nothing so far for me so far,
List
Kevin.
You only got
Hold
Pacioretty?
on, I got it. 67. 4 players have worn it. Robert Schwela.
There you
Oh,
go.
who can forget?
Brandon
Robert
Cozen
Schweda.
won.
There you
Really?
go.
Yeah.
Brandon Cozen was
Redeem-
recent.
But hold on.
Nobody
This can't be
busted their chops over
right. Was this, it must have
1967.
been in the preseason. Redeems Zahorna. He came up. He didn't wear it, did he? Remember him? The big tall guy that shot
Yeah,
one
I
in?
know who he is, but
Did he wear 67? I guess he did.
Imagine I knew that.
Our thanks to Colby
That's
Armstrong
something I'd remember.
and his tour for coming to our studio
Yes,
today.
they were awesome.
If you get a chance, give us a rating and review. Also, we can be found on YouTube. Thanks for joining us this week. We're back on Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody.